Well, you may wonder why I've got homemade magic here in a little binder like this, but actually this is sort of a work in progress. Many of you have my book, Homemade Magic. Okay, it was published by Llewellyn a number of years ago, and it was let's see, when was it? 2014. Okay, and for one reason or another, Llewellyn did not want to go into a second printing. We already had some other good works that they thought were doing much better, but it was a business decision on their part. But our good friends at Magical Omaha, who do such a wonderful job with our tarot deck, was anxious to republish it, and not only republish it, but I've added new material, expanded to a full new chapter and everything, and so it'll be a brand new book. It'll probably have a different cover too, but anyway, that's coming out, and I'm just teasing you with that because it's something that I've got here in the car working on. This is I'm supposed to mark this up and return it to the typesetter and everything. I'm not going to burden you with that this morning, or treat you with that this morning. Obviously, I'm in the parking lot of our Tuesday behind the wheel performances, but I do have something that I ran across while unpacking. Still unpacking. Something that I wrote for an OTO event many years ago, and it's very short, and I quickly printed it out and brought it with me this morning to share with you. So it'll be a pretty brief little show, and I'm starting a little bit early today, so I apologize for that. But anyway, here it is. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Well, it's true that all crazy people don't change the world. It's equally true that most people that change the world are crazy. I received my Minerval initiation on November 15th, 1975, a little more than a month after the 100th anniversary of the birth of Aleister Crowley. I was 28 years old. It was an unforgettable and awesome experience. My initiator was Grady L. McMurtry, or Hymenaeus Alpha 777, who was assisted by his then wife, Phyllis Seckler McMurtry. We three were the only visible attendees. The ceremony took place in the Spartan but artfully decorated garage of their home in Dublin, California. It was profoundly beautiful, and the feast that followed, which I would later realize was still part of the initiation, was an intimate orgy of ambrosial magic. We talked late into the night. I had a million questions, beginning with, how big is the OTO? How many members? Are all initiations this intimate? I was initially shocked to learn that since Grady's death in 1947, the order had ceased to initiate new members, and death had claimed all but a handful of the old members from Crowley's day. I was only the fourth new candidate admitted since initiations resumed a couple years earlier, and two of them, it seemed, had fallen away. as had as has the third one. Many years afterwards. Anyway, I digress. It's odd when I look back on it. Why were my initiators at the time so optimistic about the future of a nearly extinct order whose crazy prophet died broke and alone 28 years earlier, and whose writings were almost impossible to find? An organization whose active membership you could count on your fingers. They're crazy, I thought. Absolutely crazy. And I love them. Well, Grady and Phyllis did indeed change the world. And so have all the other crazy people who, through their efforts in the last 28 years, have resurrected Crowley from near oblivion and, for the first time, made nearly all his priceless writings available. Now, there's 28 years when I wrote this, so we're talking now 50 years. Crazy people who have put Crowley and his teachings into texts and curriculums of colleges and universities. Crazy people who have helped make the OTO the worldwide Thelemic initiatory order of Crowley's dreams. However, something much bigger than the efforts of these wonderful people is happening at this point in human history to change the world. Something much bigger than the OTO. Something much bigger than Aleister Crowley. Something that happened 100 years ago. On March 20th, 1904, the age changed, and a 28-year-old prophet was chosen to give voice to the titanic spiritual forces that dictate the formula of life in the new aeon. An aeon characterized not as a mother goddess or a father god, but by that of their child. 100 years is a very short time in the life of an aeon, but look what has happened since March 20th, 1904. The world has changed more in the last 100 years than in the previous 10,000 years. Technology, communication, information are exponentially escalating by the minute. Human consciousness, like the absorbent brain of a baby, is itself undergoing radical and continual change. Like a newborn child, we are as yet unequipped to express our new genius in the outer world. Yes, we're innocent and curious, but just like children, we're also immature, self-centered, impatient, and cruel. Can anyone deny that humanity is currently acting like a child? The golden promise of this aeon lies in the formula embodied in the child itself, the formula of continual growth. Humanity will outgrow diapers and training potties. We'll outgrow our irrational fears and hatred, our insecurities, our jealousies. We'll eventually grow up and fulfill our potential as a race of adults. It seems to me this is a much better prospect than what was promised the folks of the last aeon, which amounted to, you can't really have fun until you're dead, and the more miserable you are until you die, the better. We're all very fortunate to be alive at the very beginning of the Aeon of Horus. It's very exciting and violent, and we know how much children enjoy excitement and violence. but we're also present at the moment that blesses the very beginning of every aeon. It's the moment when a few souls, in touch with themselves and the times, can actually see in the outer world the secret changes taking place in the inner world. The fleeting moment when we still walk with the gods of our aeon. A heartbeat before the forces of corruption begin their inevitable labor of twisting the inward formula of the aeon 180 degrees to eventually manifest as a religion for the masses. That is the exact opposite of what it was all about in the beginning. Armed as we are with this frightful foreknowledge, it would probably be fair to ask, why am I so optimistic about the future of humanity? Just crazy, I guess. Love is the law, love under will.